Okay, let's get started today with the $50 omelet. And the reason I want to share with you my $50 omelet, which did not have any caviar in it or anything else that was crazy expensive. I want to share the story of my $50 omelet with you to tell you why these poll numbers matter now. And again, when we talk about polling, and we did this a lot yesterday, take all of these polls with a grain of salt. But there is something happening in the polling that shows a broader trend toward President Trump, toward the Republicans, away from Joe Biden and the Democrats. And a really big part of that is the economy. In fact, we're getting polling now showing that the economy is far and away the number one issue. Bloomberg Morning Consult poll, which was released late last week, shows that Trump leads Joe Biden on who best to handle the economy by a whopping 18 points. Donald Trump at 50%, Joe Biden at 32%. And when they asked voters to rank their top issues, the economy, again, far and away the number one issue at 39%. The second most important issue to voters, immigration at 14%. So those are the two big issues, and I want to deal with both of them on the show today because they're critical to not just the political election next year for president, for Senate, for the House of Representatives, but it's critical to the lifeblood of the country. You cannot have a country with a wide open border. And also, you cannot have a thriving country when your economy is stuck in salt, like it is right now under Joe Biden and has been for the last 3 years. This doesn't just happen. None of these issues just happen. I was watching Fox Business the other day, guys, and they had on a local Democrat from New York, because I guess none of the major Democrats want to go on Fox or Fox Business. And this local Democrat, I give him props for going on Fox Business, but he was trying to say that the wide open border and the massive tsunami of illegal immigrants literally just happened. And, this kind of thing happens in every presidential administration. I think it was Maria Bartiromo who put the brakes on that immediately. These things don't just happen. They are a direct result of presidential policy, and also policy that comes out of the Congress, policy that comes out of the Federal Reserve. These things have consequences. You move when you have power, and that movement has a consequence. So I want to deal with the two biggest issues in this Bloomberg and Morning Consult poll. And those two issues, the economy and illegal immigration, are at the top of every poll, okay? And far and away, Donald Trump is leading on both of those issues. Why? Because Trump has a long track record of delivering on those issues for the forgotten men and women, but actually for everybody in the country. You don't have to go back to the Reagan years to remember a booming economy. We used to have to do that, guys. Remember? We used to have to think back to the 1980s and the Reagan boom to recall a really robust, thriving economy. We don't have to do that anymore because Donald Trump delivered that booming, thriving economy just a couple of years ago, pre-COVID. And tomorrow, I have so much I want to do today. So tomorrow we're going to talk about 2020 and how it's going to inform next year, 2024. But we now have 4 years of empirical evidence of Donald Trump as president delivering for the American people on the economy, on illegal immigration, and on the whole range of issues, law and order, a strong foreign policy where the world was at relative peace. 4 years of empirical evidence. So what you're now seeing as the polling is really starting to take off and people are now starting to focus on the presidential race is that they're honing down on the issues that are most important to them. And again, the economy and illegal immigration. So let's start with the economy. The Fox News poll that came out yesterday had some staggering numbers here, none of them good for Joe Biden. 70% of those polled believe that the country is going in the wrong direction. Again, that's a direct effect of a wide open border and an economy that is very soft and in decline. 2/3 of the American people, according to the Fox poll, are living paycheck to paycheck. And we have seen that in other polls as well. And more than 2/3 in the Fox poll disapprove of his handling of the U.S. economy. I've seen numbers even higher, according to other polls, like 3/4 of the American people have a negative view of Joe Biden's handling of the economy. Monmouth, which is a pretty substantial poll and largely to the left, has Joe Biden's job approval at 37%. Fox has him a little bit higher. I think it's at 43% in the Fox poll. But Rasmussen, poll after poll, shows Joe Biden in like Richard Nixon at the height of Watergate territory. Richard Nixon at the height of Watergate was like in the mid to high 30 percentile, right? Because that is a core group of voters who will never abandon a president of their own party. So you have to be pretty bad if the only people approving of your job performance are your core diehard supporters. 37%, very, very bad. Again, a direct result of the economy, sky-high inflation, still sky-high energy prices. People are now, they're struggling to make choices. So when they go to the grocery store, and I see this all the time, I experience this too. Go to the grocery store, and a lot of people now have to choose between eggs and milk that week. Or here we are in the holiday season, a lot of families are struggling to pay for toys for their kids because they still have to give them dinner at night and put food on the table. These are the kinds of economic Sophie's choices that so many Americans are having to make right now, and that is reflected in these poll numbers. So the $50 omelet, you know what? Let's hit a quick break. How's that for a tease? Let's hit a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about the $50 omelet, and I'm going to tell you about my experience with a worker in a drugstore on First Avenue in New York City, what she told me. And I realize it's anecdotal, but it reveals so much about where the electorate is. Sit tight. Well, it is the holiday season, and that means time to go to the movies, right? Well, this Christmas, the brand new film from director George Clooney arrives. It's a rags to riches absolute crowd pleaser based on the #1 New York Times bestselling book. It's the inspirational true story about one of the most difficult sports in the world and the 1936 University of Washington college rowing team that competed for gold at the Summer Games in Berlin. This story will absolutely inspire you. This team rowed out of need to eat, need to sleep. And it gave them an edge that captures the power of working together to overcome all odds while rowing for their country, for America. You know, they really don't make movies like this anymore. And this one is filled with wholesome content that makes it the ideal multi-generational movie for the holidays. Joel Edgerton and Callum Turner star in this exciting and incredibly true story of courage, hard work, and determination, showcasing America at its very best. Believe in each other, believe in the impossible. The Boys in the Boat opens Christmas Day in theaters only, so get your tickets now. boysintheboatmovie.com.